Hey, how's it going? It's Ethan with HustlePaintball.com. Today is all about masks. As you can see, I've got a wide selection of mid-range to high-end masks here, and we're going to talk about the 5 main categories you need to consider when you're going to make your next mask purchase. First thing is lens type, whether that's single or dual pane, anti-fog or non-fog. We'll cover that. The overall construction, whether it's got a hard side or flexible sides, the strap, the foam, we're going to go over that as well. Of course, the price. It's got to fit in your budget. The looks are very important too. You got to like what's on your head. And finally, the overall fit and comfort. Bottom line, even if it's perfect in those other 4 categories, it's really got to be comfortable because you're going to have this on for hours at a time. So let's talk a little bit closer about these different categories, and then I'm going to do a mini review on each mask, and we're going to go from there. The first thing we want to talk about is lens type. Now, when you're thinking about lens type, the first thing you want to think about in that category is single pane versus dual pane, or more accurately, anti-fog versus non-fog. Now, you may think to yourself, well, anti-fog sounds pretty great. It's going to resist fog. Well, yeah, it's going to resist fog, but it's not going to be fog-proof. You really, if your budget can support it, you want to go for the non-fog or thermal lens mask. That non-fog, fog-proof is really important. Now, depending on the manufacturer, for instance, JT and Dye, their non-fog lenses are dual pane. Now, you may have learned some of this if you watch some of our other videos about masks, but we're going to go into a little bit more depth. V-Force lenses, for instance, this is a single pane lens, but that's non-fog. They use a special thermocurine coating on it that does the same thing as these 2 masks. However, it's a single pane. So don't get too hung up on the single versus double. You really want to look for the non-fog rating. Again, if your budget supports it. It's a little bit more expensive to go with this. In my opinion, it's completely worth it because nobody likes being out on the field with a foggy mask. So after that, we want to look at the different kinds of tints. A lot of times, masks just come with a clear tint. That's, I would say, probably 95% of the masks on the market. But if you do have the option, consider some of the other tints. A dark tint such as this is a smoke tint. This is great for playing in the sun, horrible for playing inside. You're not going to be able to see as much. Something like this, a yellow or orange or amber tint, that's great for playing in the woods or a low light situation. Playing in the bright sun, we live in Colorado, man, it'd be horrible. Your retinas would be seared right off. So you want to take a close look at that, and remember, a lot of these masks, you can buy different lenses for them. So if you want to have the option to go with clear and smoke, well, maybe get something that comes with a clear lens and then pick up a smoke or even a mirrored lens afterwards. So let's take a closer look at the next category. Now, when it comes to the overall construction of the mask, there's really a lot of things we need to look at. So let's start by checking out the exterior portion of the face protection. If you got something that's nice and soft and flexible, that's comfortable, that's good, but there are some downsides to that. Middle of the road here, as you can see, it is flexy, but on the front, nice and stiff. Then over here, this mask is very stiff. This is one of the stiffest masks that I've ever seen. So it offers the most protection. Now, the possible downside of a hard shell mask like that is just that it's a little bit less comfortable. Something that's a little more flexible, like the JT Pro Flex series as well in the past. Those are often a lot more comfortable, but they don't offer as much protection, so you can get that really painful jabble and slap. The other thing I'm going to look at is the strap. You want to take a close look at it, make sure it's adjustable. Generally, the straps will have 2 clasps, so you can really tighten it down. This is what's keeping it on your head, so it is very important that it's comfortable. A lot of times they'll have silicone or some sort of grippy material on the inside that's going to hold it on your head. You want to make sure that thing's pretty nice and springy. It's not going to wear out anytime soon. Next, I want to talk about the ears of your mask. The ears are the portion of your mask that protects your ears. It's pretty self-explanatory. On a mask like this, you can see that it's actually a cloth and foam-like material. It's pretty soft, pretty nice, definitely good against your ears, a lot more comfortable than hard plastic or rubber, but you do sacrifice a little bit of protection. So that's something, once again, where you have to weigh that. Do I want comfort versus extreme protection? How many times do you get shot in the ear? Who knows? That's again, a decision you need to make. But you definitely need to understand the pros and cons of each. So you want to consider next, what's going to be contacting your face the most? And that's the foam. You really want to look at if it's going to be really hard, stiff, durable foam, or if it's soft and comfortable. The downside of soft and comfortable foam is that sometimes and soft foam is going to tear easily. It's going to wear out. So with a lot of the higher end masks, they've got several layers of foam. And we'll take the camera in and I'll show you some close-ups as we do the individual mask reviews. And we can talk about the foam. I'll put each mask on and kind of give you my impression of how comfortable it is. But it is very important, since that's going to be on your face for hours at a time, you're going to make sure that's not going to be leaving a nice little rash around your eyes. So those are the kind of the main four things you want to look at. Other than that, there are obviously some other features that you need to take into consideration. A mask like this comes with a forehead protector. Now, something like this obviously doesn't. You need to make the decision if you want that extra protection up there. If you want a visor, something like this, a full head shield that protects not only the top of your head, but the back of your head. Headshots are pretty painful, and if that's something that you really don't like, you definitely are limiting your mask selection by just looking at the full head shield. Whether or not you want to get a chin strap for extra stability, things like that, really important. You want to kind of check out these additional features. They're not make or break, I mean maybe the head shield is, but they are good things, and if you're kind of in limbo between two different masks, but one's got a chin strap and you kind of feel like that'd be good, you definitely want to be cognizant of that and pay attention to that. So let's move on to the next category. So let's talk about price. You need to determine what your budget is for buying your next mask. Now, before you do that, you really need to understand what your money is going to buy you. That'll really help you establish a good budget. So the way I see it, there are three main price groups. Aside from, your entry-level, uncomfortable masks that, let's be honest, you're trying to upgrade to one of these masks to get away from. So we've got roughly the $30 to $35 mark. That's for this, something similar. We've got around the $50 mark, and then we've got above $60, okay? So let's talk about the $30 to $35. For a price range in there, you should expect to get an anti-fog lens, good protection, and mediocre comfort. In the case of the V-Force Vantage Pro, it actually happens to have phenomenal foam. It's really comfortable considering that it's only about 30 bucks. Now, again, it's anti-fog, not non-fog, so you are going to have some fogging issues, but at that price range, that's kind of what you got to expect. Up around $50, you really shouldn't get a mask that's a single pane or anti-fog lens. For 50 bucks, you should get something that's thermal or non-fog. Now, you might end up with something that's got a super killer graphic, but still a single pane lens. That's a decision you'd have to make. But generally speaking, for around 50 bucks, you should expect to get a thermal or non-fog lens. Once again, they're going to be pretty comfortable, definitely more comfortable than most masks, about $20 less. But when you get up into the 60 plus range, what you should really expect is it's going to be 100% more comfortable, okay? There should be a huge step. As I'm just feeling the foam, this is like velvet compared to concrete. I mean, there's just a huge difference there. So when you've got something on your face for hours at a time, it's really going to make a big difference. The lenses absolutely should be thermal or non-fog. I mean, over 60 bucks, you should never get a mask that's anti-fog. Just skip on over it. The construction is going to be really, really nice. This should not be a mask that you have to replace anytime soon. And let's face it, masks in this price range should look killer. They should have awesome graphics. They should be nice and tight and sleek. It should be exactly what you want. Don't spend more than that money for a mask that you're really not stoked about, unless you just got too much money to throw around. Let's talk about looks. It's all about looks. Well, to some of you guys it might be. As you can see, we've got everything here. Everything from I need to blend in with my surroundings to I want this to be as light and tight as possible and hopefully match my jersey while I'm at it. Now, something like the grill, a lot of people really like this because of the aggressive look. If it has a skull logo on it or just an aggressive look of the mask, that could be something that's right up your alley. Whether you want a little bit of argyle, once again, if you're trying to blend in, it's really all about matching what you like to look like. Some people don't care, I'll wear anything, but some of you guys really need all your gear to match up. So it is important that you like the way your mask looks because you're spending money on it, so it's important.